The Cursed Village, 1941. War is terrifying. But what if the battlefield itself is cursed? What if your enemy is not just soldiers with guns, but creatures born from nightmares? Tonight's story takes us back to the autumn of 1941, deep inside the fog-covered forests of Belarus, where a Soviet platoon discovered that some battles cannot be won with bullets. The arrival autumn 1941. Heavy battles are raging across the Belarusian SSR. The Red Army is retreating after crushing defeats, desperately holding on to key positions. One of those vital strongholds is Orsha, a railway hub whose control decides the fate of supply lines in the Arshin district. A small infantry platoon under Senior Lieutenant Kuznetsov is ordered to defend a nameless village at any cost. To reinforce them, 3 tanks and 2 self-propelled guns are assigned. Hidden in the surrounding woods. At 5 a.m., the platoon marches into the village. A suffocating fog covers the land, so thick that soldiers cannot see 2 meters ahead. From the nearby forest, chilling cries echo through the mist, like tortured souls calling for help. The men exchange uneasy glances but dig in. Trenches are built, barricades raised. By nightfall, the armored vehicles are hidden, camouflaged in the dark woods, but none of the soldiers sleep. The forest howls with unearthly wails, moans, and guttural shrieks. By dawn, 2 men are missing. Whispers of a curse enraged, Kuznetsov storms into the village to question the locals. The peasants are hesitant, but eventually reveal their grim secret. This land has been cursed for generations. In the days of the Tsar, heretics and sorcerers were dragged here, burned alive, and with their dying breath they cursed the soil. Since then, no one who tried to leave the village ever made it far. Carts broke down, horses collapsed, and travelers vanished in the woods. Long ago, the villagers tried to abandon this place. But as soon as they left, something attacked. Dozens were slaughtered, their homes set ablaze. Since that day, the people were trapped. Leave for more than a few hours, and you would never return alive. Kuznetsov dismissed it as superstition. Until scouts brought back 2 mutilated corpses, the missing soldiers. Ripped apart beyond recognition. The ambush desperate. Kuznetsov organized a night ambush near the forest where the bodies were found. A dozen soldiers and a few strong villagers joined him. They waited in silence as the fog thickened. At dawn, heavy footsteps shook the ground. Snarls echoed through the mist. Then chaos erupted. Something massive charged at them. Gunfire tore through the fog. The lieutenant slashed with his silver-plated dagger, a trophy from earlier battles. A monstrous figure, nearly 2 meters tall, clad in a shredded black uniform, leapt upon him. Its strength was overwhelming, pinning him to the earth. At the last moment, buckshot struck the beast. It staggered, giving Kuznetsov enough time to ram his silver blade deep into its throat. The monster howled and collapsed, but the victory was hollow. Only 7 men survived the ambush. Werewolves of war rumors spread. These creatures were not legends. They were werewolves, and only silver could pierce their flesh. Even tanks were vulnerable to them. One night, Kuznetsov, wounded and demoralized, nearly ended his life. But a ghostly voice, his dead mother's, urged him to seek an old woman in the village who knew the old ways. The lieutenant obeyed. The villagers resisted, claiming he had cursed them further by killing a werewolf. At the edge of the settlement, he stumbled upon a brutal scene, a frail man wrestling with another beast. Kuznetsov struck it down with his blade. The old man revealed the truth. He was an NKVD officer, part of a secret unit that hunted unnatural creatures across the USSR. He explained that the werewolves were products of a hidden laboratory in Orsha. Experiments gone wrong. Escaped monstrosities. The fog was not natural either. It was a concoction brewed from human souls and fear. A hunting ground for the beasts. Worse still, intelligence suggested the Germans were perfecting their own super soldiers. using similar science combined with Soviet secrets from the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, the Witch and the Pact following the NKVD agent's guidance. Kuznetsov sought Granny Sophia, a sorceress hidden deep in the forest. Guarding her hut was Chernish, a massive black werewolf, not an enemy, but the pack leader. The old woman offered her help, but at a terrible cost. She demanded 5 human souls. Kuznetsov hesitated, but ultimately sacrificed captured German prisoners, sealing a blood pact. The souls fed Chernish, who then challenged the other beasts. In a night of hellish screams, Chernish slaughtered the rival werewolf leader, breaking the curse. The final battle, but there was no time to rest. German tanks advanced under the cover of fog. The Soviet defenders unleashed a storm of fire. For 15 minutes, the night turned to hell, steel against steel, flesh against silver. When the smoke cleared, dozens of men lay dead, tanks torn apart like toys. The survivors, broken and scarred, were evacuated days later. Kuznetsov was hospitalized, then summoned to Moscow. He was promoted to captain and transferred into the NKVD's secret division, tasked with hunting monsters born of both science and sorcery. The village was abandoned, sealed in classified files marked top secret. In war, death comes in many forms. But for those who fought in the cursed forests of Belarus, bullets were the least of their fears. Some enemies are not bound by nations or flags. They are born of nightmares, and they walk among us. If you want to hear more true and terrifying tales from the shadows of history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because next time, the horror might be closer than you think.